Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A-plus customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our animals. Visit them today at rainbowmealworms.net to place your order.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Geeky Gecko Creations Live. So today I'm doing a little bit of testing here. I want to see if the Melon app can allow for as good quality as the YouTube app. So all exotics, what is going on? Let me shut this fan off, actually. And I'm going to be playing around with some settings here, but please let me know if the video quality, like when I'm showing geckos or talking, is the same, worse, or better than when I'm on YouTube. Because I started the live stream today in a different way. You could see like the little box outline and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just kind of getting used to if I want to do it this way or not. Let me see. I can actually do that, but I don't like that vertical. It's just a little easier to see comments and whatnot. Actually, I should have told so Norman Davis is to thank for this live stream because he lit a fire under me to stay consistent, but I forgot to remind him right now that we're going to be live. So glad that you could make it though, Chris. All exotics. There was a problem with connecting it to Facebook too, but I figured I would fix that in the next live. The reason that I want to test out this particular platform is because we might be bringing on a new sponsor or two in the next couple of weeks, and I want to be able to run their promotion and run their intro at the beginning of every live stream, just like we did right now. Now, I have no idea what the thumbnail for this live stream is. Okay, Norman made it. Good. I didn't want to exit my phone and then text you because it might stop the live stream, but glad you made it. This is Norman's inspiration tonight. Let's see if I'm showing geckos. Okay, so to me, the quality looks just as good as when I normally do it on YouTube, but you guys let me know. You guys let me know as the night goes on or whatever. So I figured a shorter live stream is better than nothing. I'm going to be doing a little bit of cleaning tonight. We can talk some topics of geckos and whatnot. I'll keep an eye on the chat right here. I'm also trying something new with our setup, which I don't want to introduce to you guys just yet until I'm sure that it works and I'm happy with it. But essentially, instead of using paper towel and humid hide for the older geckos, what I'm doing is, let me see if I can bring up an example. All right, so these are two older geckos right here. What is in their bowl? A huge chunk of something. Now, let me see if I can just quickly flip the screen or if it's going to make me go through video settings and then it's going to make me go to another camera. And now we should be good. But check this out. This is what I'm doing that is new. And actually, let me pop this light on here because this light's going to be a little bit better for the stream. I like these big lights. I just bought these big lights, and although I take most of my photos now outdoors, if I was to do indoor photo shoots and stuff like that, this light right here is going to help a lot. And see, I have that little stone layout there, but I want all my pictures to look the same kind of. So anyway, this is what I'm trying. Instead of a humid hide, per se, the older geckos, once they're like 2 to 3 months old, they're going to get peat moss, which is similar to Eco Earth, and they're going to live in that under these conditions. And I don't need to keep this moist. At least I don't think I need to keep that moist because I now have a humidifier in the room. So you can see that right there. That humidifier, it dropped a little because I opened the door, but that humidifier keeps the humidity in this room around 50 to 60%. And so with humidity at 50 to 60%, I don't believe that I will need humid hides, and that will allow me to house bigger geckos in these temporary tubs for longer periods of time, right before they're sold. You know what I mean? Because as a business, you're growing up a lot of geckos, and anything that saves on space and efficiency is going to help you out. You know, these are very temporary setups. The geckos are only spending a few months in here, maybe up to a year max before they're sold, and then they move on to bigger and better things. But that is what I'm experimenting with right now. Couple things I'm looking for. Number one, do they shed without problem? Number two, do they kick too much food? I mean, too much substrate into the food bowl or the water bowl. Now, the water bowl is not that big of a deal because geckos mainly use the water bowl for the first day or two, and then they discard it anyway. So if anything, having substrate in the box with them, the tub, is going to make it so that it's more humid in there for them, easier to shed. It's acting like a giant humid hide, essentially. And it will soak it up so that it's not like soppy. You know, when water bowls spill on newspaper or paper towels, how the tub gets soppy, and we don't want that. So this will prevent that. And the other thing is, if I'm noticing that too much peat moss is getting kicked around, what I can do is lessen the amount of peat moss. So I already have a very fine layer in there. It doesn't even cover everything from side to side. It's maybe a 16th of an inch of a layer. And that's fine because as the geckos are moving around, this stuff is very absorbent. They're going to be digging and pooing, and then their poo will get stuck to this thing. And anyways, I need to experiment to see how well I like cleaning it and all that kind of stuff. But more to come on that. I just set up like 40 geckos yesterday with it. That already older and bigger geckos to see how I like it. So Jasmine, hi Frank, finally made it to the start of a live stream. That's awesome. Thanks, Jasmine. Rodriguez Reptiles, what's going on? Cameron got a question. One of my females is ovulating, but my male won't breed her for some reason. There's really no tricks. I actually have another friend of mine that's going through this right now as well. Some females just won't breed. Now, I guess there is one trick you could try is you can try a different male. I don't know why, but sometimes a female will not want to breed with a certain male. So you could try to breed her with that male on other days. But if she eventually doesn't breed, like I've had some females not breed for 2 to 3 months for me with the male that I want them to breed with. And then as soon as I try a different male, immediately they'll pair with that male. So I don't really know of any other tricks you could do besides just basic husbandry and care. You could try breeding her in the male's bin. You could try breeding the male in her bin. I don't usually recommend leaving a male with a female overnight, but if you have a big enough bin, that's something that you could do. Which, speaking of big enough bins, oh, it's in the car. Never mind. It's not here. But I'm going to be making my own. What do I call this? You guys can help me name this. So when you go to a reptile show and we're vending at a show, if you want to buy a gecko, I'll have a little setup for you. It'll be like a 28-quart tub. It's a hefty tub, which has like the boxy lids, which gives it a little bit more air and space. I'll have natural wood. I'll have a soil mixture that I make. I'll have a couple hides, like a couple natural hides in there, like a food dish, a water dish or something. And there's going to be a heat strip attached to the bottom of the tub, and it'll be adhered there with some tape and whatnot so that the customer can buy a gecko and also buy this package of a tank for the gecko to be housed in. So I'm going to be experimenting with that over the next couple of shows to see if people really like that. But if that takes off, if that goes really well, then I'll sell the whole units in general to anybody, like even you guys. If you guys want to buy Geeky Gecko Creations tub, you know what I mean, housing tub for the gecko, then you could do so. You know, it'll have everything the gecko needs to survive. So it'll have ventilation, which you can use a little mister like this to spray in. So the ventilation will have, it'll look a lot better than this, but the ventilation will have holes like this. so that you can, if you're in a pinch or you want to give your gecko some fresh water, you could just take a sprayer and spray it in there for 2 seconds, and that gets some fresh water. It'll have a heat strip adhered to the tub, and then if I'm shipping it, it might not have the decor and all that kind of stuff, but that's an upgrade option if you want. I can add some natural decor and then the natural soil composition that I recommend for pet keepers, which is a sand, peat moss, um, organic soil mixture. So all organic, no chemicals, no nothing like that. Rodriguez, yeah, 100% peat moss. Now, I'm also experimenting with display cases at shows. Um, I don't want to use paper anymore because when the geckos poo on paper, it just seeps through the paper. I ordered those little square things that are very, very expensive. It was $70 for a bag of this stuff. You might see them at pet shows. I don't like it. I think it makes the geckos look too laboratory like, you know, and what I really prefer is the geckos to look like they're in a natural environment or something. So actually, this I can show you. This I can show you. I'm experimenting with different things that I want to use in my display case for the show. What's going on, Brooke? Brooke will be with us at the show. It's kind of dark in here. I don't think I can put the light on real quick. Anyway, these are our display cases for the show. Let me see if I could take away that glare. Here is that stuff that's really expensive. This is like generic laboratory stuff that they use for laboratory animals, and it's really popular in the pet industry. It looks really nice, but two problems. Number one, the geckos usually dig all the way to the bottom, and it looks, to me, that just doesn't look good. With an exposed plastic like that and this very laboratory looking square block, like look at this. It's a laboratory looking square block. I honestly hate that. I really do. It cost me $70 for this bag. Check this out. This is the bag from Shepherd Specialty Papers. It's really popular with ball python breeders, but dang, do I hate it for leopard geckos. It's just ugly to me. Next up is peat moss. So this container, I'm experimenting with peat moss to see if I like it. Pure peat moss. The issue with peat moss is it's a little bit dusty, and you can't see it right now, but a little bit of fine particle dust gets on there. Actually, what I can do, I do have a flashlight. I need to buy a bigger flashlight because it looks really nice. Like in actual light and lighting, the stuff looks really nice. I'm really excited to do one of these things. So here's the three different things I'm looking to see which one looks best in the display case. And maybe you guys can vote. So here is the white chunks that's very laboratory looking that I really don't like. That's very expensive. Next to it, right here, this is peat moss. But I don't know if you probably can't see all of this, like look right here when I shine the light back, all of that dust up here. So eventually geckos kicking around in there for 3 days while they're in here, the geckos kicking around is going to make even more dust. Now I did slosh it around a decent amount to see how much dust it would accumulate. This is what I'm thinking of right now. I really love this. This is organic soil. So it's not as dusty as peat moss is, but the organic soil is not dusty. Like it's barely dusty. It's barely anything on the sides of the glass. The only issue is black knights are going to blend right into that. And you won't be able to see a black knight. And one of the allures of a black knight leopard gecko is that you could see it from a mile away at the show if you have white bedding. So this is what I did. I went to Home Depot. So what I did was I might as well sit down because I ain't cleaning nothing right now. So what I did was I went to Home Depot and I bought perlite. If you guys are familiar with what perlite is, it's used for egg incubation. I'm going to wash that perlite in water tomorrow to take all the dust away from it. And then I'll be left over theoretically with what I want, which is the white rocks. Now, if you guys have ever seen Sophie's Geckos on Instagram, go check her out right now. She's actually like in the UK, Sophie's Geckos. If anybody knows her handle, please drop it in the chat or the comments. But one of the cool things about her is she takes a lot of photos on perlite because perlite is bright white and it makes the geckos look really, really nice. So that being said, why can I not experiment with trying that out for geckos in a showcase setting? And it's natural, it's volcanic rock, so it has a natural look to it, unlike those silly little square rodent pellets, which you guys know I like to ramble about things that I don't like, and I might be rambling about that for a little bit. But anyway, I was hopeful for that, and then yeah, I'm just not so hopeful for it anymore. Don't like the look of it. I want something to look natural. And I've kind of thought about this from a customer perspective as well. When I'm walking around shows, if a display case to me, if a display case looks generic, it looks laboratory like, it kind of distracts me. It kind of takes me away from thinking that the breeder's a good breeder or the animal's a good animal, because it just seems like a laboratory production, right? It's kind of like hard to connect to because animals are from nature, and so when you're displaying them in a display case, it's really nice to have natural substrate that they can kind of look like they're in their element with. And so that's the idea behind the peat moss, the organic soil, and or the perlite. And the perlite would only be for geckos that I really want to stand out, like maybe some high quality tangerines, or of course black knights, because you can't put black knights on top of black soil. It just doesn't make them stand out at all. You know what I mean? Rodriguez says he uses peat moss on all his geckos and frogs and lizards, holds humidity, amazing. Yeah, so we're going to be experimenting with that. Perfect. Yvette, good to see you. Bam Bam. Yes, Rodriguez, thank you. I know I've been rambling and this is from a while ago, but the Geeky Gecko starter kit, that is what we're making. And I was looking at the store and I had the option of buying like a smaller tub, which usually breeders use, or a bigger tub. And I thought to myself, a customer probably wants a bigger tub. So the size tub I got is 28 quarts, which is a sweater size box tub, and it has a raised lid because the hefty ones have locking lids and they're raised off the surface. So they're really, really cool. I'll show you guys when I'm done. I'm going to make it look really, really nice. It'll be a Geeky Gecko starter kit. I'm thinking it's going to be like $50. I'm not sure. That'll cover the cost of parts and labor and all that kind of stuff. But it'll include everything the gecko needs. So you could literally get a Geeky Gecko starter kit for like every gecko you have if you're on a smaller scale. And of course, these bins can fit right onto shelving units as well. You know what I mean? And you really won't need a thermostat either. You can use a thermostat if you want, but you could plug it directly into the wall. The heat strip will heat through the plastic, and it's only going to be over a small area of the gecko's tub, so that if it's too warm there at any point, the gecko can move away. But if there's soil there, like if it's getting too hot or whatever, just push more soil onto it, and the gecko will dig down as far down as the gecko wants to be exposed to heat and whatnot. So Brooke says sandy chip. I'll have to look into that. I do like the look of chip. Like sometimes breeders use like the stuff that you keep rats on, like some kind of bedding like that. That does look okay for certain species, especially corn snakes and stuff that will be living in there. For the leopard geckos, I'm thinking like rocky would look good. Rocky, like soily stuff. But I'll have to look into sandy chip as well, always considering different ideas and whatnot. But Bam Bam, I have seen people use beans as well. You're absolutely right. Beans is another option. Black beans or white beans. That's another good idea. That's definitely another good idea. One of the things that I really wanted to potentially hone in as well is absorption of poo. So I know beans wouldn't absorb poo too much. So if the gecko digs through the beans, which the gecko's gonna dig through the beans, and then it poos, the poo will be stuck right to the surface. But if you have like peat moss in there, the peat moss will, because it's dusty, the peat moss will glance over the poo, and the poo will get absorbed into the peat moss and be easy to clean and more hygienic. But beans is something that I'll definitely be in consideration of as well. Yeah, Whitney went to she went to Zumba tonight. And then Mr. Norman Davis, one of our followers, he encouraged me just to do a live stream where, because I want to bring the live streams back. This is a really busy week for us because we're prepping for the show. There's a show coming this weekend. So if you're in Arizona, we're going to be at the the Phoenix Reptile Expo, November 19th and 20th. We'll have some cool animals there. I plan on bringing some black knights for sale. I plan on bringing some high quality tangerines for sale. I'm going to have some really amazing bold stripes. If you haven't, if you look on our Instagram reel right now, we have like one amazing bold stripe on there. I'm going to have others that are not as good as that one, but close, like came from the same lineage. I'll have some really nice bold stripes there. A bunch of lower quality pet geckos for people, $50 to $100. So hopefully we can do that. I appreciate it, Rodriguez. Smash the like button. There's a lot of people here on Monday. So I guess people like our Mondays. I've been considering what day to bring back the live stream. All Exotic says it's Sophie's Geckos or Geckos by Sophie. If you check out Geckos by Sophie, she has some of the best pictures of leopard geckos in the hobby. So mimicking her picture setup might not be too bad. Dragonheart, no worries about being late. I wanted to just do at least a little bit of a live stream, even if not. But Geeky Gecko Starter Kit has a ring to it. I like that. Geeky Gecko Starter Kit. Everything the gecko needs. You know how I got that idea? Which made me really, by the way, we're getting new shirts, and the logo of the shirt is going to be on the back. I know it was like 50-50. People voted that they wanted the logo. 50-50 people voted that they didn't. But overall, the shirts are good. They're great. They look great because they're tribal, and I really like tribal. Fun fact, I don't have a tattoo, but when I did want to get a tattoo, I wanted to get like a tribal band. Was like classic, right, from the 90s. Tribal band was like my first tattoo I wanted to get, or like a tribal dragon or something like that. Anyway, I like tribal, but I was standing in line at Chipotle, and the guy behind me started talking to me about geckos and business. And he happened to be a businessman as well for a different business. And he started multiple companies and stuff. And so we wound up talking for like 15 or 20 minutes there at the Chipotle. And then he invited me to check out him and his business partners, which are at the mall where I was at. And so it led to a conversation by just me having that logo and display on our back. And so even though it's more expensive for me to buy that, I decided to put it on all the shirts. So we'll be doing that for sure. Which we have new shirts coming in, by the way. We got the overall, the number one most favorite colored shirt was the stone with black logo, black lettering and black logo. The second most favorite was the classic black with white lettering. So those were the two that I stocked up on the most. But then there's so many other cool colors I can really get into. I even have Christmas theme ones, guys, that are going to have like, it's going to be like royal purple and then like Christmas yellow. Not like a bright yellow, but kind of just like um, a royal yellow or like a priestly yellow, not like super bright or anything. It matches the dulled down tone of the royal midnight purple and stuff like that. Anyway, that's just one flavor, so to speak, of shirt that I'm going to order for Christmas. but yeah, I wanted to get this general order of shirts out before I do that, before I do the Christmas shirts and whatnot. And hopefully I have money for the Christmas shirts because I've been spending a lot of money lately. The company has been eating a ton of expenses. So if you guys are looking for geckos and you want to buy geckos, please consider buying a gecko from us. The company could really use it to support our finances right now. I'm going to be selling some of our higher end stuff. It's time. It's like I need to do it. So I'm going to have Black Knights for sale. I'm going to have tangerines for sale, like high quality stuff. And then of course the lower price stuff that is still high quality in my opinion, like color wise, tangerine emerines and stuff like that, you know. So a lot of the geckos on our website right now are older than they were in their original picture. Most of them are adults or subadults. At the show, whatever doesn't sell at the show, I'm pretty sure I'm going to retake pictures of, since they're older now, and market them. And my goal is really to only sell geckos that are adults. Now, I'm not going to be selling any adult Black Knights just yet, but I do have some juvenile into subadult Black Knights that I'll be selling. So I'll have those at the show, and then I'll have regular adult leopard geckos there. I have a couple tangerine, like high quality tangerine and high quality bold stripe adult males that I'll be bringing to the show, and then some subadult females and stuff. Whatever doesn't sell at the show, I'm going to take pictures of and put onto our website. So if you're not going to the show, you can look for new pictures on our website when I announce it next week. So whatever doesn't sell at the show, I'll wind up taking pictures of it, and then that'll be that. So we ship year round for anything that is under $200. Okay, so wait, let me back up here. In the wintertime, there are certain locations that are more risky to ship to. Like the other day, I had a customer really, really want a Black Knight, and he was up in like Massachusetts or something like that. If you're watching and I got it wrong, I'm sorry, but he was up somewhere north, and the temperatures were in the 20s or below. Now, you can ship in the 20s or below, but the risk that you take as a shipper, as the business, is that if the animal gets held up in transit somewhere, you know, either gets stuck on a truck, it gets stuck in a hub that is not temperature controlled for some reason, it gets stuck on a tarmac, it gets stuck in Memphis, Tennessee, which I need to check the weather in Memphis, but because of their humidity, they pretty much stay year round okay to ship. But the final destination point, if that's like lower than 40 degrees, then I need to consider if the package is worth the risk or not. So if I'm shipping you $1,000 animal and I need to refund you that $1,000 if something goes wrong with that shipment, then I absolutely won't ship, you know, because that's risky for the animal's life, but it's also risky for the finances of the business, you know? And so I just have to look at every situation as a little bit different. So I ship year round. I ship in the summer, I ship in the winter, I ship year round. I just need to know where you are, and I need to look at your temperatures to see when our windows of opportunity are best, you know? So yeah. And ideally, in a perfect world, if there's no delays or anything like that, you never have to worry about the animal going through crazy temperature extremes for long periods of time. And I'm going to do a video on this, but you know, I've asked a lot of questions and I've started to piece together how our animals travel, right? So I'm in Arizona. The animals go from my house to our local hub. At the local hub, it's kept in a temperature controlled room until 6 o'clock in the evening. At 6 o'clock in the evening, it goes onto a truck, which is not temperature controlled. And this is where you need to be wary of the temperatures. The truck could be 150 degrees in the summertime, or it could be 20 degrees in the wintertime. So the truck can experience these extremes. However, the gecko is only on the truck for about an hour to 2 hours as it's on its way to the airport. Once the gecko's at the airport, it's in a temperature controlled environment until it moves on the plane. Once it's on the plane, it's in a temperature controlled environment until it lands in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, this is where I need to figure out if the giant warehouse in Memphis, Tennessee, what their temperature control is like. Is their temperature 50 degrees there in the winter? 40 degrees? Is it warmer because employees are working in that warehouse? It's a giant warehouse. So if you've ever worked in a giant warehouse, you know that it's impossible to completely control the temperature. You could use swamp coolers in the summer to cool it down a little bit, and you can use heaters in the winter to warm it up a little bit. But for the most part, if you're in a giant processing warehouse for packages, you can't control the temperature to what we would call room temperature, which would be 70 to 80 degrees, which would be perfect for the box to sit in. So the question is, what is the temperature of the package in Memphis, Tennessee? I was told that the package in Memphis, Tennessee is a temperature controlled environment to a certain extent. And so what that extent is, I don't know. I'm going to try to do some more research, ask some more FedEx people that have experience in the company, for 20 plus years, and see what I can come up with. But from Memphis, Tennessee, which is it's a somewhat controlled temperature environment. That's where you have to be careful. That's where delays can happen. When your package is sitting in Memphis, Tennessee for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, that's where it's sitting. It's sitting in an environment that might not be perfectly temperature controlled. The summertime, it might be 90 to 100 in that warehouse. The wintertime, it might be 40 to 50. That information I need to find out more about. So if you've worked for FedEx and let me know, because I still need to piece together that final part of this trick. But it then goes from Memphis, Tennessee. It will then get loaded onto a plane where it's temperature controlled again, and then it will land in the customer's airport where it's temperature controlled. But then it goes on a truck, which is not temperature controlled, for another hour or two to the closest local animal hub to that airport. Now, depending if you live in a very rural area, it could be 2 to 3 hours that the closest FedEx location. Or if you live in a more city area, it could be 15 minutes to an hour, the closest the closest animal FedEx hub. So it goes to the animal FedEx hub, and if you hold the animal at the FedEx hub, it's in a temperature controlled environment and you never have to worry about anything. So bottom line, there's only really 2 to 3 times that your animal is exposed to extreme temperatures. On the truck to your local airport, in Memphis, Tennessee, and then on the truck to your local animal hub at the customer's location. Oh, and then step number 4 is if your customer is getting it shipped to their house. You know what I mean? If they're getting it shipped to the house, it's back on a truck for 2, 3, 4, up to 8 hours, depending on where that person's house is. If it's in the middle of, Nowhereville, Kentucky, it could be on a truck for 8 hours, and you need to prepare for that voyage. But anyway, that's a different story. In extreme temperatures, most people will pick up at the hub, or you, as a business, you just make it so that they can only pick up at the hub. Like that's the only option. If you want the gecko, you got to pick it up at the hub. Now, I normally ship to people's houses unless the circumstances are very extreme. I've never had a dead on arrival gecko, and I've maybe shipped out 100 plus geckos by now. Okay, so even though the risks are low, if you take the right precautions as far as heat packs and cold packs and all that kind of stuff, anything can still happen. And so when you're dealing with animals that are very, very high dollar, $1,000+ animals, if something goes wrong, I'm on the line to refund the customer that $1,000. So I'm doing everything I possibly can to make sure that that package, nothing goes wrong with that package. And so that's where I might analyze the temperatures a little bit more and be a little bit more stringent if the package is a very expensive package. You know what I mean? But I've done a lot of experimenting over this summer with shipping, some of our lower priced geckos and stuff like that. If you're going to do experimenting, those are the geckos that you want to do it with. You want to do it with the lower priced geckos in extreme temperatures. And I was shipping out geckos in 110-degree temperatures here in Arizona. I package them up nice. I put the cool pack in there, all that kind of stuff. If they get delayed in Memphis, they get delayed in Memphis. I went through a lot of experimenting in the summer. Not one dead arrival gecko. Every gecko is safe, still alive, and happy to this day. Now, the wintertime, I have not done a vast amount of experimenting in extreme conditions, like below 20 degrees conditions. So I can't really speak to that. I probably will do experimenting. For example, if somebody here wants to order like a $50 or $100 gecko from us, that's the perfect time for me to do an experiment. Because if something goes wrong with that animal, then I'm so sorry, but I will refund you the full price. And I will learn some knowledge about what the animals are exactly going through, what they're capable of handling, and what risks are worth it or not worth it for the animals long term. You know what I mean? Now, if you were to look on the website of like Ship Your Reptiles or Reptiles Express, to cover their behinds, they all suggest that if it's below 40 degrees, not to ship any animal. They very well know that you can ship well below 40 degrees, especially if you're going hub to hub. However, they of course don't want to promote that because it would make them look cruel and insensitive and inhumane if they were saying, yeah, if it's 20 degrees, go ahead, ship it, and it's fine. So that's where breeders kind of have to do their own experimenting and whatnot. And that just comes with time and shipping out packages. You know what I mean? So if you're in a really cold environment and you want a gecko from us, as long as it's in a certain price range, I'm willing to do some experiments. I'll do my best to take care of the heat for the gecko and all that kind of stuff. But I would love to study the results of shipping geckos in cooler temperatures, in cooler extreme climates, like below 30 degrees. I will still probably only do hub to hub. At this point, I don't want to experiment with a gecko going on a truck for 8 hours to your house in a 20-degree weather truck. I think that's just a recipe for disaster. However, there's a couple videos on YouTube, and I have these videos if you need them. I did something similar to this as well. You can take a thermostat probe, put it inside of a box, seal up the box with a heater and all of that, and put it into your refrigerator and leave it there overnight. So I've done some experiments with that. I've seen some other people do some experiments with that. There's been varying levels of success. Some people did not have success. Other people had extreme success. So the one video that I saw that had extreme success is he put the thermometer in a box and sealed it up like he would normally seal up an animal, and he put it into a wine cooler, which was it was like 40, I think 40 to 45 degrees. And at 40 to 45 degrees, there was a heat pack in there. The internal temperature of the box stayed at 60, I think it was. Some parts of the box were 70, heat rises. And so that's a perfect temperature zone. And that was overnight for 12 hours or however long he left it in there, like 8 hours. So what that's telling me is the heat packs can withstand a huge amount of cold pressure from the outside because they're in these insulated boxes. However, there's always a risk, right? Something could go wrong with the heat pack. It's not functioning completely properly. The outside temperatures are so cold that the heat pack barely can fight against it, and the temperature might drop into the 40s or 50s for the gecko. Now, can a leopard gecko survive being in 40 to 50 degree temperature? I totally believe the answer is yes, but there is not enough experimentation or documentation on that for me to like be 100% confident with it. Anyway, I'm going to move on from the shipping conversation right now, but that's all my thoughts on shipping and our experience with it and all that kind of stuff. So howdy, Kaler. Oh, Yvette gave us $1.99, maybe $2. It might have took some from her, but thank you so much for Yvette for that super chat. Shiba dog with a big smile on his face, tilting his head. I was waiting for people to drop during my ramble. Usually people drop out while I'm rambling, but you guys have listened. You guys are the true fans, the true troopers. I appreciate it. When we used to ship high value birds, we shipped them through Delta Airlines, which I can't do because I'm not approved through Delta. And it's a whole lengthy process. You have to go to the airport. It takes like 4 hours sometimes to work with them. But anyway, I know what you're talking about. They usually receive them the same day, but they had to pick them up at the airport, and it's very expensive. Yeah. I was at the post office today, and I saw somebody shipping out a gecko at United States Postal Service. Bam Bam says he's received geckos with temperatures in the 20s. Was that to your house, Bam Bam? Or was that hub to hub? Also, Norman, can you talk about shipping price options? Yeah, so if you go, a lot of people don't realize this. You can go to United States Postal Service and ship a package overnight for about $30 to $40. So you could ship a leopard gecko overnight through USPS for $30 to $40. The reason that most people don't do that, and the reason that they pay $50 to $70 to go through FedEx and shipping companies, is because FedEx is thought to be more reliable. Since I'm not cleaning, I'm going to put these worms away. I don't want them turning into poopa. Poopa, poopa, pupa. FedEx is thought to be more reliable, so most breeders will go through Redline Shipping, Reptiles Express, Ship Your Reptiles, because all of those companies are going through FedEx, and FedEx is thought to be the best and most reliable overnight shipping company in the world. That being said, United States Postal Service is very, very reliable as well. And Tiki's Geckos had an issue with FedEx about 1.5 years ago where a box was crushed and the gecko died inside, and FedEx wouldn't give him a refund. So he said, forget you, FedEx. I'm going to only use USPS. Now, Tiki's Geckos is a very, very big company. They ship out hundreds of geckos a month or every other month or whatever. They're shipping a ton of geckos. And so for him to make the commitment to USPS shows me that USPS ain't so bad. And there's a ton of other old school breeders that use USPS, because before FedEx, USPS was very, very popular. They don't have as much stringent requirements as FedEx does. You know, FedEx, you need to have a license. The box has to be a certain color. It has to be a certain crush proof. It has to have certain writing on it. It has to be labeled in a certain way to carry live animals. Now, thankfully, all of that's provided for us through Reptiles Express. When we buy their boxes and shipping labels, they have the license and all that kind of stuff. But USPS, you don't need any of that. You could be a 12-year-old kid, walk up to USPS and ship a gecko overnight. Anyway, Norman says, talk about shipping price options. There really is no shipping price option. I use Reptiles Express right now. Every reptile company, there's a certain price that they pay for that, to ship that package. So Ship Your Reptiles, Reptiles to You, Redline Shipping, Reptiles Express. These are the 4 biggest reptile shipping companies in the United States right now. If you were to make out a label on any one of their websites, every single one of them is the exact same price, if not very, very close, with the exception of maybe Redline Shipping, because Redline Shipping is brand new and they're trying to take customers from the other reptile shipping companies, and they're offering a lot of coupons and very, very good discounts right now. So I don't know about redline shipping. I've never made a label with redline shipping, but one time I did compare the label prices between Ship Your Reptiles, Reptiles to You, and Reptiles Express. They're all the same price. Now, that being said, I have shipped over $2,000 worth of shipments through Reptiles Express. When you hit certain milestones with them, they give you a discount. So when I was over $1,000 worth of shipments with them, I get 5% off of every shipment. When I got over $2,000 of shipping animals with them, I'm at 10% of a discount now. My next goal is $5,000. When I've shipped over $5,000 with them, I'll get a 15% discount on my shipping label prices. Now, that doesn't mean much because shipping's very expensive right now. The average price to ship a box anywhere in the United States, the average price is $75. Now, if you're shipping to a place that's closer to you, it might be $65. But if you're shipping across the country, it might be $85. But that being said, the average price is $75. I only charge customers $55 for shipping. So every single box I send out, I'm losing $20 on the shipment. I'm losing $5 in gas, so that's $30. I'm losing $5 in temperature control, cryo pack. I'm losing, so that's $35. I'm losing another $5 on the price of the box and the styrofoam and all that kind of stuff. So that's $40. So every single gecko I send out, I'm losing $40 to $45 plus the cups that are in there and whatever you might use for packaging. I just use newspaper and stuff. But anyway, you get the point. Scotch tape, all of that adds up. So every package at the end of the day is costing me $40 plus, what is that? Wait, yeah, $40 extra that I'm not charging the customer. But as my business partner has stated, and many other wise people before me, this is the cost of business. Just chalk it up to the cost of business. Business costs money. When you swipe your credit card at the store, do you think the store is getting the full payments of what you just bought? For example, I just went to Home Depot right now and I paid for $135 worth of stuff on my credit card. Home Depot is only going to get to keep 97% of that $135. Guess who keeps the other 3%? The credit card companies that are processing the payment for you. So there's always a cost to business, no matter what business you own, any business you own. There's going to be expenses that you just have to eat. You got to eat them for breakfast, eat them for lunch, eat them for dinner. The cool thing about animals is you can kind of hide the cost in the cost of the animal. So I'm not really concerned about it, but if you're concerned about the cost of shipping, eating away at your profits, then just don't budge on the price of your animal, or charge your animals the $40 extra that it would cost you for those shipping. So if you would normally charge for the animal $300, charge $350 for the animal. And don't take no for an answer. If someone offers you $300, stick at $350. The problem with that is you might not sell as many animals because now you're so much higher priced than the competition. So that's the cost of business. But yeah, I'm not sure what you meant on shipping options, Norman, but when you're shipping through these companies, it's all the same. When you ship through USPS, it's all the same. It's overnight is the same. I think their overnight is like $30 to $40. I might start experimenting with USPS as well. I don't think anyone in Canada ships over the winter months. That's a good point. There was a breeder up in Canada, Mutation Creation. His snakes were sitting on a tarmac, which to my knowledge, this is just what I'm picturing because I'm not in the supply chain, so you guys might be able to correct me. But at a tarmac, that's the place that, like, when the planes are unloading, they unload onto an outdoor area before it goes into the warehouse. In Canada, it was like negative 20 degrees or like 0 degrees, and his snakes were sitting on that tarmac for 3 days. When he got them, they were ice cold to the touch. He started warming them up. There was like 20 snakes, very high-end snakes, like $100,000 package we're talking about here. And some of them made it. He was able to reheat them up. Others of them didn't. A few of them had like brain damage and stuff. But because of that experience, he's been shipping in and out of Canada year-round for 20 years. He's been doing this for 20 years, and he never had an issue until now. So now he says he'll never ship during the winter, but that just shows you that things might be fine for 20 years, but you never know. There's that one time, that one package. And so you, as a business, you just kind of have to decide what you want to do. Bam Bam says he picked it up at the hub, but he doesn't recommend getting it shipped straight to the house because of colder weather. Correct. Yvette, with my luck, if I order something, it would go wrong in Colorado weather. My wife's from Colorado, Fort Collins, so we'll just drive it up to you. Yeah, it's cold. It's freezing right here in Arizona too. The nights are getting down to like 48. Can you believe that? It got down to 48 the other night. I'm just kidding. I mean, that is cold. Don't get me wrong. That is freezing. But I'm just saying that to poke fun at you guys that are in much colder places. So FedEx charge you $140 to ship to Max. Felt very bad about the price. I need to find out more. Well, yeah, you shouldn't be going through FedEx, Norman. If you're to ship to Max. Yeah, okay, I know who you're talking about. So, Norman, you need to ship through one of these reptile companies that has a license. The reason that they get discounts on their shipping is because they have a license. So that $140 package, that's what it costs if you don't have a license. But if you go through a company that has a license, then you get like 50% off of that. The companies only wind up charging us like $70 to $75. You know what I mean? So that's what happened, you know. Oh, Kaler's Aquatics with the $1.99 super chat, an unopened card box with the word unboxing. Ooh, what is that? See, I'm on Melon right now. I'm not sure if I could see that on YouTube, but I'm going to watch this back. I always watch our lives back, and I look forward to seeing what that display is. So thank you so much, Kaler Aquatics. And I'm sorry, I forgot to highlight Yvette's super chat as well. So let's go back and do that. Yvette Holmes. There she is. Shiba Dog with a big smile on his face, tilting his head. Thank you so much. All super chats help. We're now starting to bring in, not decent, but I mean good money. Not a lot, but something is better than nothing, right? And we're bringing in decent money from YouTube. So like this month, I think I'm going to make like 120 or 130 bucks from YouTube, which is ad revenue plus super chats, you know, and that's where the super chats come in. If you have really successful live streams where you get like a lot of super chats, some of those guys are making really good money with the super chats that they're getting and whatnot, you know. But for me, I just look at, I don't like to like push for people to do super chats. I love it. Everything helps. So I really, really appreciate when you do send a super chat. It really means so much to me because it helps us pay our expenses and it helps go towards supporting the business. And so I really, really thank you for that. But I try not, I don't like to like advertise it too much or be pushy with people. So I really appreciate it. Aquatics and Yvette, thank you guys so much. What was I saying though? Oh, so from YouTube, ad revenue and super chats, I'm making about 120 to 130 bucks a month right now. And then something new that I started doing more recently, if you've noticed, is Instagram. Because I'm eligible to get paid for Instagram Reels, I never took advantage of that in the past, but now I am. And I think this month I'm going to make close to 200 on Instagram Reels. I think. I'm not sure yet. It's looking a little weird the way they're breaking down the price, and I'm still kind of newer to it. Last month I made 100. This month I might make 200. That might be really good. So that's like $200 to $250 worth of paid stuff from YouTube and Instagram that is going to help support the expenses of the business. So really, really great. Now that might sound like a lot of money, but our monthly rat bill is like $400. Our monthly food bill for leopard geckos is like $800. Our monthly electricity, that because of everything we run in the air conditioning unit in the rat shed and all that, is like an extra $100 compared to what it would normally be. So the expenses to run this business is close to like $1,500 a month between buying tubs, electricity, housing, heating, food, all of that kind of stuff. I'm looking at expenses of around $1,200 to $1,500 a month. So I need to sell enough animals to pay for those expenses, and that's where the super chats really help. The money from YouTube ads and Instagram ads really help. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Gecko Punk, how's it going, man? Oh, All Exotic. $3 from All Exotic. Shiba Dog with sparkles in his eyes saying, my hero. Okay, now I got to ask, what is the Shiba Dog? I am completely aloof to what this is, but you guys have both talked about it now. I thought it was like Yvette's dog. I thought that was like the name of her dog, but please cue me in here. Thank you so much, All Exotic, for that super chat. Royal Corn Beta. I like that. Why doesn't my gecko want to go inside of his wet hide? It could be too cold in there. It could be too warm in there. It could be too wet in there. Please send me pictures is always best, and give me a little bit more information. I need to know, what does your setup look like? What do your temperatures look like? What does your overall humidity in the cage look like? Because he might not want to go in his humid hide if the rest of the cage is humid enough for him, you know? Rancho Ray, you're really kind because the buyer should be responsible for any shipping costs. Yeah, thanks, Rancho. I just look at it as I want to have customers. I want to make it work with people. And if I start charging too much for shipping, that won't work. Like people will get upset, and it just won't work. So as much as I would love for it to work, I just know in the long run it won't. But thank you so much for saying that, and I really appreciate that. Wow, that sticker is a bit much. I promise that sticker was random. Okay, see, I can't see the sticker on Melon, but when I watch this back on YouTube, then I'll see the sticker. And maybe that's what it's saying. Is that what the Shiba is? That's the dog, right? That's the sticker that I'm not seeing. Shiba Dog with sparkles in his eyes saying my hero. You guys are probably like, what was he talking about? That's the way it's describing for me right now on Melon. It says, in quotes, Shiba Dog with sparkles in his eyes saying my hero. And so that's probably describing the sticker that you sent. So Whitney just got home from Zumba. I'm going to see what questions I missed, and then we'll probably call it there for the night. So get your last questions in. Oh, yeah. So Levette says, the Super Chat sticker gives you options, and the Shiba Dogs are a cool option to pick from. Thank you guys so much. Well, I really appreciate it. I meant to do some cleaning today while streaming, but it's a lot easier to engage with you guys while I am not cleaning. And it just so happened that we started talking about so many different things that I couldn't even bring around the brain power to clean at the same time. So I'm going to end the live stream there so I can still accomplish some cleaning tonight. I'll try to make Monday nights at this time more consistent. So every Monday night at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is my time here, you can find us. And then I'll also try to do some random live streams throughout the week. And we're also going to try to bring back some interviews and stuff after the show. This is just a really, really busy week, so I ask that you guys be patient with me. We got the show this weekend. That's always a lot of prep work leading up to the show, and a lot of animals still need to be taken care of before the show, since I won't get to clean them during the show. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Message me if you have any emergencies or questions, 480-299-7657. If you missed some of the conversation in this video, please watch it back. We did have a bunch of conversations. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Carly's Aquatics, All Exotics, and of course Yvette. Really appreciate you guys. Much love from over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, have a geeky gecko. great day. Peace.
Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A-plus customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our animals. Visit them today at rainbowmealworms.net to place your order.